Hey, this is Michael. I just wanted to briefly kind of show a quick little walkthrough of my Open Interpreter iMessage connector. So yeah, with simple Flask app that basically lets you control Open Interpreter and indeed your entire computer from your phone. You can just text message back and forth, and Open Interpreter is pretty good about trying to get things done, sometimes successfully, as I'm sure we'll see. So on the top right, that's actually just a Flask app right there. It's on GitHub, all open source under a permissive license. It's not particularly in depth or anything, but it's worked surprisingly well. And you can just kind of watch as it works in the top right. On the left is a shared reminders. So OI has a dedicated Apple ID account here, and I created a reminders list for it. And then I shared that list with myself, so I can, from my phone, like add reminders that I want Open Interpreter to do later. And then the bottom right is our text message thread. So I'm just going to basically control Open Interpreter. You can't see it on the screen, obviously, but I've got my phone in my hand, and I'm just going to text Open Interpreter. I set up an iMessage account just for Open Interpreter. The only person it can text is me, and we'll be going back and forth here, and so you can see how it works. So I'm going to just start with like, hey, let's try and populate some tasks. And I've got a presentation I'm doing tomorrow about cool dogs from history. So you can see I've got a fairly custom instruction set up, so you can kind of see that working. Um, and it'll just be kind of going in the background. And on my phone, I'm not seeing anything currently on my phone. I've played around with some ways to get it to at least acknowledge things, etc. But yeah, let's crank and bake and get this pasta sauce stirring. Yeah, I have a lot of personality with my Open Interpreter. But perfect. You can see it populated that task list, right? That's awesome. Um, so thanks. Go. And then you can see this cool text message came back to me. So you see everything in the top right. Eventually, it puts everything back in a text message to me, except for usually it doesn't include any code it actually runs. So it's a little verbose, but you basically get to see everything Open Interpreter is doing. Um, can you tackle the first item in that list and get back to me with your findings? Great. So while it's doing that, one of the other nice things is that Open Interpreter has full access to files locally on the file system. It can't uh, see, it was just able to, and now it's claiming it can't actually update that, but it'll text me back and say, hey, I failed. Try again. You have full Apple script permissions. Like, it just created these. It can definitely access those. Um, access the first item in OI shared reminders in the reminders dot app. Yeah, so you can kind of go back and forth. You can see kind of that thread there. The name of the list is OI shared reminders. Oh, well, see, it figured this out before you even texted it back. Um, so yeah, it keeps working through it. And sometimes it can kind of, do 4 or 5 tries on something, and sometimes it figures it out. Sometimes it just chases itself in circles. Um, so if you feel like it is going around in circles, yeah, I don't know why this isn't working right now, but it can also read new tasks, not just write them. Um, I don't know why it's suddenly having issues, but I've recorded this 5 times already, so I'm not going to do a six. Go in here from here, but you can say use Selenium to find some cool dog facts and summarize them for me. Yeah. And since it seems to be kind of working here, I also put in a stop command, so it's actually using multi-threading, which is my first time using that. So that there's something that's always checking for messages from you. So like if you need to interrupt it, if it gets stuck in a loop, or if there's crashes, you can just check text stop, and it'll cancel what it's currently doing and kind of reset it, which can be super, super helpful. Um, yeah. So yeah, let's see. You kind of go here. Um, and from the user's perspective, you don't kind of. And I did give it full access to execute things. This is kind of a dedicated computer to OI, because if it goes off the rails or just nukes all the data, um, it won't impact any of my files, hopefully. um, yeah, but it's pretty good about following the instructions you give it. It often kind of has buggy code and that sort of thing, um, but it's still pretty neat. And I have gotten it to search the web before and parse data. One thing I've been thinking about is giving it a copy of a lot of like my internal documentation and that sort of thing, so that I can say, hey, my dog trainer sent me a long PDF. Come up with some sample exercises based on that PDF or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. I think thanks to Apple scripting, you can get it to do a whole lot of really interesting stuff on the Mac. I haven't explored it yet, but I'm guessing you can probably also do stuff with um, like HomeKit. So we could be like, hey, turn off the lights, turn on the lights, that sort of thing. So yeah, and here it can recognize like, hey, I tried getting this via Selenium, but that's not actually what I wanted, and so on. Um, yeah, so I think there's some interesting ways we could develop this out, but just wanted to kind of give you a quick demo so you could see how it works. Again, check out the code. Feel free if anybody wants to hijack my project. Um, this is probably about as far as my coding skills can take me, but yeah, hope you had fun.